Mitigation restoration. How to prevent and mitigate damage from flooding. Call 786-460-3914 or click the link in the description to learn more. Mitigation and restoration are two key elements of any successful project. Mitigation involves taking action to prevent damage from occurring, while restoration involves taking action to repair the damage once it occurs. The success of any project depends on how well these two components are managed. Mitigate damage to land, air, water, wildlife. Land, air, water, wildlife, these are just some things we need to protect. But when disaster strikes, we often forget about them. That's where mitigation comes in. Mitigation is reducing risk and damage before it occurs. The goal is to prevent problems from becoming disasters. Mitigation includes everything from planning to reduce risks to taking action after a problem arises. When a natural disaster happens, there's usually plenty of damage already done. So instead of focusing on restoring the damage, many people focus on mitigating the damage. For example, if a hurricane hits a city, people may be focused on cleaning up the mess. But they're not thinking about preventing future hurricanes. Instead, they should think about building better defenses against future storms. This means improving infrastructure, increasing flood control, and creating evacuation routes. Mitigation is important because it prevents problems from becoming disasters. And disasters cost money. Mitigation is also important because it helps us learn from past mistakes. We can use this knowledge to build stronger defenses against future disasters. And finally, mitigation is important because it saves lives. If a hurricane hits a city and destroys homes, businesses, and roads, people who live near the storm's path are at greater risk of injury or death. But if those same people had taken steps to mitigate the damage, they would have been safer. So what can you do to help mitigate damage to land, air, water, and wildlife? Mitigation restoration includes the following steps. 1. Identify the problem. 2. Determine the cause. 3. Develop a solution. 4. Implement the solution. 5. Monitor the results. 6. Evaluate the effectiveness of the solution. 7. Repeat mitigation restoration when necessary. Mitigation restoration is identifying and correcting problems before they become major issues. Mitigation restoration is important because it helps prevent future problems. When you identify a problem, you must determine its cause. The cause determines the type of solution needed. Once you've determined the cause, you need to develop a solution. This involves creating a plan of action that solves the problem. After developing a solution, implement it. Implementation means taking the solution and putting it into practice. Monitoring the results of the implementation is critical. Monitoring ensures that the solution works as intended. Evaluating the effectiveness of the solution is also important. Evaluating measures of whether the solution is effective enough to solve the problem. If the solution isn't effective enough, then you may need to change it. Modifying the solution requires revising the original plan of action. Repeat mitigation restoration when necessary. Repeating mitigation restoration allows you to keep improving upon the solution. If you're not familiar with mitigation restoration, learn more about it now. Rehabilitate property. Property rehabilitation is a great way to turn a property into a moneymaker. But it takes a lot of work, and most homeowners aren't prepared to tackle rehab projects themselves. That's where mitigation restoration comes in. Mitigation restoration is restoring a damaged building or structure to its original condition. When done properly, mitigation restoration can be a quick, inexpensive fix that makes a house or commercial building look brand new again. But when done poorly, it can cost thousands of dollars and take months to complete. So it pays to hire a qualified mitigation restoration company. Restore natural resources. When we talk about natural resources, we're talking about things like water, air, soil, and trees. These are resources everyone needs, but not everyone knows how to use them properly. That's where mitigation restoration comes in. Mitigation restoration is restoring natural resources damaged by human activity. This includes cleaning up polluted land, removing invasive species, and planting native plants. Mitigation restoration helps restore our environment and protect wildlife. It also creates jobs and reduces pollution. And when we restore our natural resources, we help ourselves too. We feel better, live longer, and have healthier lives. There are many ways to mitigate restoration. One way is through the purchase of carbon offsets. Carbon offsetting involves buying credits that allow us to reduce our impact on the environment. Another way is through the purchase and installation of rain barrels. Rain barrels collect rainwater and store it until it rains again. The stored water is free and clean, and it doesn't harm the environment. Rain barrels are great because they save money, prevent flooding, and create jobs. They also help us conserve water and reduce pollution. So, if you're looking for a way to help yourself and others, consider installing a rain barrel. Make things easier for future generations. If you're going to build a house, you need to consider future generations. The home you live in today may be gone tomorrow, and who wants to live in a place where everything is falling apart? That's why mitigation restoration is important. Mitigation restoration is restoring things that were lost during development. This includes filling in holes, repairing cracks, and cleaning up debris. When building a home, include mitigation restoration features. These features help ensure that the home you live in today won't fall apart tomorrow. For example, when building a home, you can install a rainwater collection system to collect and store water runoff. Rainwater systems prevent flooding and erosion problems, and they save money on expensive repairs. Another example is installing a green roof. Green roofs use plants and soil to absorb stormwater, reducing the amount of runoff that flows into local waterways. They also reduce air pollution and improve the environment. Finally, consider adding solar panels to your home. Solar energy is clean, renewable, and free. It doesn't pollute the air, and it doesn't cost any money. Solar power is becoming increasingly popular, and many states offer tax incentives to homeowners interested in installing solar panels. Mitigation restoration can be done without adding substantial costs. Call 786-460-3914 or click the link in the description to learn more.